I can't believe I'm about to say I actually missed the ICOC. Ugh. And welcome to the Eclectic, wait for it, channel. I don't know what possessed me to start singing that part, but it's been working for my videos. So welcome to my channel. Welcome to this cozy, fun little eclectic space on the interwebs. My name is Devin. I'm so glad you guys have decided to join me. If you guys have been here before on my channel, if you're subscribed, all that fun stuff, welcome back. I've got a fun, interesting video for you guys today. If you guys are new here, you have not been subscribed, or you guys have never seen these videos, or you just stumbled upon them, welcome to my channel. I am so glad you guys decided to stumble upon my interesting YouTube journey. And if you guys are not subscribed, definitely hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you guys are aware every single time I post. So I know that you guys saw the title and thought, what the hell? Before you click off, before you leave me, let me explain what we're about to get into today. Before we get started, I definitely want to load you guys with a bunch of disclaimers, a bunch of like maybe notifications before we get started, just so you guys are aware of some of the things I'm going to talk about may be triggering, they may be offensive, they may just be strange, anything in between. First and foremost, editing Devin here, I wanted to jump on and introduce you guys to a segment I like to call, I was editing this video, I up a certain section of the video that I needed for the video, thus I am forced to refilm it. It's all good. We're trucking on, guys. It's okay. Sorry, let me get serious here. Okay, so definitely before we get into this video, we are talking about the ICOC. I want to put some disclaimers. I messed up this part of my video. I don't know how, I don't know why. Doesn't make any sense, but this is a very important part of the video. First things first on disclaimers, I definitely wanted to kind of explain how, you know, in this video talking about the ICOC, I am definitely talking about something that may be offensive to some, as I am talking about Christianity, I'm talking about the ICOC, God, Jesus, and I understand that that's, you know, not something you believe in, or something that's not your vibe, or, you know, something that just doesn't, not your thing kind of thing. And if you guys want to click off and this is not your kind of video, I totally understand. I do want to encourage you guys to kind of stick on this video, only because like this is, while it's kind of centralized to Christianity and faith, I mean, I feel like this video can kind of be for everybody, especially people who are like just starting out on college or going on a college campus. People who, you know, are starting college for the first time, going onto a college campus, that, you know, you could be approached by something like the ICOC and it may not be something that's good. So I feel like, you know, the more awareness we put out into the world, maybe the better, you know, at putting a light on some of these issues. In my second disclaimer, I definitely wanted to, you know, kind of put a trigger warning. I understand that just from my ICOC storytime video, I had a lot of responses, a lot of people who have gone through the ICOC, a lot of people who had maybe a bad experience with the ICOC, and I understand that might be traumatizing or triggering for some. So if you know that's something that really, you know, it's not your vibe, that triggers you or anything like that, I definitely want to put a warning and say, hey, if any of this kind of stuff triggers you, maybe click off, or, you know, just kind of give you a warning ahead of time. Number 3 disclaimer is that I'm definitely going to be talking about my experiences, my time in the ICOC, my perception of the ICOC. However, I do want to make it clear that this is not any kind of posting to spread hate or, you know, massive judgment on the ICOC. I'm just, you know, when I talk about my story or my experiences in the ICOC, I am talking about what I saw, what I experienced, it was not that great of an experience, and this is just my perception, my viewpoints. So that's not to say that the ICOC as a whole is bad. Maybe they are. I cannot speak for the entire organization, and I certainly don't believe in spreading hate or, you know, calling these people a-holes or anything like that, because that's kind of counterproductive. You know, I understand there are parts of the ICOC that are questionable, maybe not good, but I don't think, you know, all the people are bad in this organization. Maybe there's some good people out there. I want to spread positivity and love, and definitely pray for people who are misguided from the Bible, as I have experienced, or as I have seen at my time in the ICOC. So I don't, again, this may just be my experience, the specific branch of the ICOC that I went to. Not saying it's reflected on the whole organization, or saying that, you know, we should spread hate, or that I want to spread hate onto this organization. Number 4, disclaimer. So I'm not really going to be talking about my story with the ICOC, only because I did that in my video. Definitely go check that out. It's linked down below, all that fun stuff. But if I do use any names or any kind of pictures or anything like that, that is definitely going to be protected for privacy, censored out, changed, whatever. Because, you know, I don't, like I said, I don't want to spread hate. I don't want these people to feel called out, all that kind of thing. That's not what I'm about. Everything will be changed for privacy protection, and honestly, just to make this a more positive video. 5th and final disclaimer is that I am definitely not an ICOC expert. I was only in the organization for about 1 to 2 years on and off, and I really wasn't in like the deep depths of the organization in my experience. I'm just speaking from my experience only. So, you know, I'm not an expert. I mean, I'm knowledgeable enough to know why I don't want to be a part of the ICOC and what the organization is about, but I'm not like super knowledgeable. Just kind of want to make that clear as well. And that's it for my disclaimers, guys. Thank you for letting me jump back on here and refilm this part. And again, this was a very important part. I want to make sure it was involved in the video, because I definitely don't want to offend anybody. I don't want to trigger anybody out there, and I definitely don't want to spread any kind of hate, any kind of, you know, negativity. I'm all about positivity, love. That's what this channel embodies. So I definitely want to make sure that's what the vibe of this video is as well. Enjoy the rest of the video. So, okay, now that I kind of talked about some disclaimers and you guys are still here with me and we're still chatting, I definitely want to kind of dive into a little bit of what the ICOC is. If you guys are new to my channel, or if you just have never heard this term before, I kind of just want to give you a basic definition of what the ICOC is, in case you are wondering. About a year ago, I did a video on my experiences with the ICOC and how I got involved with the ICOC, my experience and time in the ICOC, and how I left the ICOC, as well as my viewpoints of how I think that they are a cult, or how they operate as a cult. I will definitely link that video down in the description below if you guys have never seen it. I definitely encourage you guys to watch it. I talk a little bit more in detail of how the organization kind of works. I don't go into like extreme detail of how the organization works, because I really don't know as much. I guess is probably an indication of why I shouldn't have gotten involved with them to begin with. I just kind of talk about my personal story of how, you know, the church I was associated with, organization that I was a part of. But if you guys don't know what the ICOC stands for, it stands for International Church of Christ. It was started by a guy named Kip McKean back in the 70s or 80s, which one it was. New church, and they, basic bones definition, they claim to go by the Bible, that they are, you know, strict by the Bible, and they have what's called like a Bible study that they do. Bible study, you become baptized and you become like a member. So basically, through testimony, from stories I've heard, from my own experience, it's made to seem that the only way to get saved, or the only way to like be a part of this club or organization, is to do the Bible study. It's like a 7 to 8 week Bible study that you have to do, and then get baptized, and then you are a member of the ICOC. It does have different branches. Like there's like there's an actual like center kind of thing, and then there's like branches throughout, you know, the United States or I believe other countries. I have heard one of like in England one time. Just for clarification, so you guys have a little bit of a background for this video. I'm a part of the ICOC through a student club organization on my college campus when I was living in Denver, Colorado. Student club on campus that was associated and backed by the ICOC church in that area. I was in the ICOC or that club for about 3 years. I was kind of off and on in that club. I would say from the years of 2013 to 2016, and I think when 2014 rolled around is when I really got like actually involved and started studying the Bible with them or doing the Bible study. And then March of 2016 is when I left. I definitely went through the ICOC standard Bible study and did get baptized while I was there. You know, all kinds of stuff in between. For you that are subscribed or that you guys have seen my ICOC video, I really want to genuinely say thank you for watching that video, number one, because it really supports me and like makes me happy because I'm a bit of a smaller YouTuber. When I posted that video, I did not expect the response that I got from it or all of the like support that I got from it. You know, if you guys have been subscribed to my channel or you guys have seen that video, you know, or you've commented on that video, I want to personally say thank you for responding to that video and being brave to share your stories or share your experiences or your thoughts. I thought when I left the ICOC back in March of 2016, I was so scared and I was so nervous and I was so like overwhelmed with all the information I had learned, and I honestly thought that like I was crazy. I know I wasn't crazy, but like honestly I was just like, man, that's so strange. I don't know if anybody has really had that experience before. And like I got many comments from you guys about your experiences or told me your viewpoints about the ICOC, which may have not been great. I hate that you guys have had to go through a bad experience, because I definitely don't want what I went through to happen to somebody else. And it's just so nice to know that I'm not alone in the world when it comes to the ICOC. And I wasn't the only person who like thought this organization and how they run things and how they do things are just totally and glaringly weird and not right at times, and definitely, you know, spreading false information, which is absolutely and definitely like the icebreaker or the deal breaker as to why I left the ICOC. I am just super grateful and thankful for your guys' support. Definitely going to try to keep bringing you guys more and more content on the ICOC as I see fit, as I possibly can. So thank you again, guys. I really wanted to do an update for you guys, and I really wanted to bring you guys a little bit more ICOC content because I feel like it's an interesting topic. Honestly, the problem is I don't have an update as far as my ICOC video or as my ICOC story, only because like when I left the ICOC back in March of 2016, it kind of ended there. Like I was never contacted by any of the members following that. I have seen them on Facebook. I have seen them, you know, through social media. Pretty much literally right after I left the ICOC, I moved to Missouri, and that was pretty much the end. So now that I kind of got into some background, let's talk about today's video. About a few months ago, I think it was around the like anniversary, around the month anniversary when I had left the ICOC, I was scrolling on Facebook, and you know how Facebook can do like Facebook memories, and it'll show you like your memories, like, oh, you posted this 2 years ago today, you posted this 5 years ago today. Looking at a memory that I had from about 5 years ago, was hanging out with some of the girls in my Bible study at the ICOC when I was doing it back then, getting like froyo or something like that. And I kind of just like sat there and I was just like, man, those were some good times. Like times like that when I just like hung out with my friends in the ICOC, we just went and got froyo. Like that was so much fun. And this weird feeling, I got this weird of like, wow, that was my life back then. That was my life only like, what, 5-6 years ago? Like that's wild. Back some memories, you know, it just brought back those fun memories I had with all my friends that I made in the ICOC, all of the fun events we did, and all of these other kinds of things. You know, that just really, it really took me back, and I think I just like started to actually miss the ICOC, which is crazy. Why in the world would you miss the ICOC? And I kind of felt, I wasn't like really, I don't want to be dramatic and say I was like depressed or anything like that, but I was kind of sad about it. I was a little just like downtrodden, just like, man, that sucks. I had, you know, I had one of the best times in the ICOC, and honestly, like, I hate to say this, and I feel bad for saying this, and you know, I'm just gonna be real honest, I was a lot closer to God and to Jesus at that time when I was in the ICOC as compared to when I am now, when that needs to be worked on my personal level. You know, thinking about how, you know, I missed all the good times of the ICOC. I just completely glazed over all the bad times or all the bad experiences I had with the ICOC, where I was, you know, very subtly told what to do. I remember one time I was, you know, I got McDonald's, and they kind of questioned as to why I was getting McDonald's for the night. Like, shouldn't you be eating something more healthier? Or, you know, I got hit up by some guy on Facebook that I started to kind of talk to, and they got mad at me because I didn't tell them about it. I didn't confide in the leaders or my Bible talk leaders or whatever, you know, to get permission, so to say. I mean, not directly, they didn't say that directly, but pretty much indicated that I should have gotten permission before I started talking to this guy. I wasn't dating this guy, but I should have talked to them before I started even talking to him, I guess. And I definitely forgot about the weird things I witnessed throughout the ICOC, like, you know, my friend's wedding. I definitely talk about that in my ICOC storytime video. Definitely check that out for more. And definitely positively forgot about how they said lies about the Bible, how they completely, you know, misconstrued, how I was just misled completely about what they stood for, what they preach, you know, it just very subtle lies that I was given to when I first joined the ICOC, and now they're telling me these absolute false information about the Bible. Like, I totally just forgot that in that moment that I was reminiscing and feeling kind of sad and missing the ICOC, that, you know, okay, yeah, I had great times, and like, honestly, just looking from afar at this organization, they seem like a top-notch organization. They seem really fun and a great way to not only get plugged into a church or start, you know, fellowship and hang around with other brothers and sisters in Christ and make friends when you're already on a college campus and you're trying to make friends, or, you know, or if you're trying to spiritually, you know, really grow your relationship with God. Like, all of that kind of stuff from the outside, from an outsider looking in, it looks amazing. When you're a part of the ICOC, you get to do all this fun stuff. I missed all that kind of stuff. I missed, you know, going on prayer walks with friends, or getting together on, you know, on a Wednesday afternoon at college, hanging out at the, you know, student union over, you know, Chinese food, talking about a Bible verse. It seems like such a fun and great organization for someone who has a Christian faith or believes in God or Jesus. It seems like, honestly, like the perfect thing ever, and it's perhaps not. What's really sad about, you know, cults, so to say, is like some of them are like that. Perhaps they seem so good to be true, everything seems amazing, but then you start learning bit by bit of how there's so much like false information, there's so much mistrust, there's so much misleading information. I was sitting there and I was kind of reminiscing and also feeling like really strange about missing the ICOC. I just kept sitting there and thinking, what the hell is wrong with me? Why do I miss this organization? Why? I mean, they were so misleading, and they were so, you know, perhaps coerced and just totally, you know, deceiving. Why am I even upset? Like, I should be rejoicing in the fact that I'm not a part of this group anymore, and that I now attend an actual biblically truthful, by the Bible church. So the more I thought about it, the more I realized it was not the ICOC that I missed. It was the connection I missed. It was all the fun things I missed. Honestly, I think it was just the college aspect that I missed. My now 30-year-old self reminiscing of the simplistic, fun times that was the college years of my life. Definitely having really close friends, the connections I made with people at the ICOC, and all the fun things we did, and all the amazing like structure that the ICOC has. Not everything was completely bad at the ICOC, but not everything was good either. So, you know, I think I realized that I missed that connection, and I missed all the amazing things I used to do. And also too, like, as I said before, I felt more, you know, connected and closer to God at that time, because I was so heavily involved, heavily influenced over and over again with that, you know, not culture, it's not a culture I would say, but like I was more inclined to be closer to God because I was spending so much time with Christ-like minded people, or, you know, with a church organization, that it just like influenced me to be more, you know, close to God and spend more time praying and spend more time reading my Bible and all that kind of stuff. Like, it was very easy to like pick up my Bible because that's just kind of what I did week in, week out. And like, I hate to say it, but like now, you know, I don't do it as much because, you know, I go to church on Sunday, or I go to, you know, a Bible study on Wednesday nights, and that's it. I just don't feel as connected and closer with God. You know, that's definitely something I absolutely, indefinitely, no offense, more than the like friend connection. I don't know if you guys, you know, have experienced those kinds of feelings as well, as kind of feel like you miss the ICOC, or let me correct that and say I don't, like I said, I don't miss the ICOC. I just miss like the fun things we did, and I miss being connected to God. So, you know, if any of you guys are out there like that and you feel that way too, I would love to hear from you guys, honestly, because I just, you know, I don't know if I feel alone in this or not. You know, I don't know. I feel like I'm the only one that's a weirdo, and I feel like I'm missing the ICOC, or I feel like I'm, you know, I just have a really strange viewpoint. Curious if you guys, you know, maybe feel like I do. And when I realized that was really the actual like nitty gritty, what I was missing, what do I do about it? Watching my channel for a while, you know, I'm a practical person, and I love to really like write down a list of different things that I can do to, you know, help a situation for myself. And I really sat down as I got home from work that night, and just really sat down. I was like, okay, I feel this way, but what do I do about it? And so I started writing out some tips or some ways that I can either, you know, get more plugged into a church, or having more, you know, like fellowship type of relationships with people who are brothers and sisters of Christ, perhaps, and or, you know, find more ways to really get connected and really closer to God. I wrote that list, and I kind of want to share some of the tips with you guys. If you guys are somebody who, you know, you say you've been through the ICOC, but now you're a part of a, you know, a church organization that hopefully is truthful to the Bible, a different church organization that's not the ICOC or whatever it may be, you know, and you really want to get plugged back into church. Or if you're someone who's just been really turned off from church because of the ICOC, and you are more of a, you know, you practice on your own, practice and worship God at home, or feel comfortable going to a church, or you're just not a church type person, I understand. I think it's good for some things, but it's not the be all end all. Not any kind of rule, so to say, that you have to go to church. I mean, God would prefer us to go to church. From my experiences from reading from the Bible, I fully believe that we should go to church, but I understand if you don't want to go, especially if you have gone through the ICOC and that has just traumatized you, or it really has put a damper on your viewpoint of churches, and that's something you're not comfortable with. I totally understand. With my tips, I do want to give a bit of a mixture of how to get plugged into a church, but also how to, you know, connect and grow with God on your own, or at home, or without a church setting. First, tip is to find a good church home. So if you're somebody who's wanting to get back into church, or you just left the ICOC and you want a church that's not the ICOC or whatever, to definitely like pray about it. Pray to God and ask God where He wants you to be planted. I think, you know, just from being raised a Baptist, I kind of consider myself a Baptist, but I'm not like stringent on being a Baptist. You know, like it's not be a Baptist, or Baptists are not the be all end all of all the denomination or the sub denominations of Christianic faith. For a good little while after I left the ICOC, I kind of went here or there, kind of when I felt like it, and it wasn't until I moved into this apartment here that I started to get plugged into a Baptist church, and literally like 5 minutes away from here. When I was looking to be planted in a church close to here when I first moved here, I definitely I did pray to God for sure, but the church that I'm now going to, it was kind of like, I believe that God dropped signs. So like I had been kind of like knowing about this church that I'm going to, and had like attended this church before I moved here, and me moving to this apartment kind of like gave me the confirmation that that's the church I should attend. I really like the vibe. The pastor's really good. You know, it's a very strict Bible church, you know, like it's very what I'm used to, very same vibe I like, and definitely where I think God wanted to plant me. And so if you're wanting to find a good church home, you know, definitely pray about it. Just, you know, trying out different churches. I know that, like, you know, maybe you've never tried a Baptist church before and you want to go try it, or trying out a Methodist church. Like I know like, the only time I went out to a Methodist church, me and my family went and tried it, and it was a great church. You know, it's just, we ended up moving, you know, just checking out different churches, finding out what kind of vibe that you're, you know, wanting, or what kind of church you want to attend. Do your research before, you know, going and enjoying that church. Only just, not because like all the churches are bad or anything like that. It's just like, so you know what that church is about, and there's no deception. Because, you know, just with my experience at the ICOC, I wish I had done more research on them and would have, you know, found out more information about them before I decided to join. Maybe that could have saved me a bad experience or a bad time in my life. Definitely do your research, pray to God where He wants you planted, and just, you know, find a good church home that you feel comfortable in, that fits your values, fits your vibe, you know, or, you know, the people you like are really well, or I don't know, all that kind of stuff. My next tip is to do prayer walks on your own. I actually loved doing prayer walks while I was in the ICOC. You know, I feel like that just because there was something in the ICOC, and the ICOC is maybe not a great organization, as long as it's not away from the Bible, you're not doing something that's like, you know, against God or anything like that, there's no reason why you can't do the things that you may have done in the ICOC. Another thing I used to do, I'll get into it in a minute, which is having quiet times. You know, doing a prayer walk on your own and just, you know, having a moment with God is definitely a way to get connected with God. You know, you can go to, you know, an area nearby your home, or you can go to a local park, do it out loud if you're very daring to do that. Not something I would do. Or, you know, you can just do it silently. A good way to get connected with God is to do prayer walks and, you know, walking meditations with God. That's definitely something that would help. Something that helps me for sure with my walk with God. Number 3 is to, if you're someone who's wanting to go back into church or find a good church, is to get involved and find opportunities to serve. You know, I know it's hard when you're starting out at a new church. It's really hard to find like ways to, you know, you're new, you don't know anybody, like you really want to get plugged into that church, you just don't know how. I would say just get involved and start serving. You know, when I was first starting to go into the church I go to now, I didn't know where to start. Like, there's so many people in this church, and it's a pretty big church, and there's a lot of people that go there, And it's just, you know, it can be kind of daunting. It can be kind of scary being a new person at a church. And, you know, just get involved. Start, you know, finding opportunities to serve, you know. When I first started going to the church that I'm going to now, I started volunteering. Good Bible-like church, shall I say. They help in the children's daycare at the church, or they need help, you know, serving coffee in the morning. I actually signed up to do that at my church. So many ways to get involved and serve at the church to help you get more plugged, and you start meeting new people, and you start, you know, learning more about the church and all that kind of thing. Just getting in contact with maybe a volunteer minister or someone who's a leader into like volunteering at your, or serving at your church or at the church you want to go to, is definitely get in contact with them and find opportunities to serve. And that will definitely help towards getting you more plugged in and more connected. Tip is also kind of church, but also you can do this on your own if you don't go to church. It's totally fine. Is to have coffee, dinner, lunch, whatever, with a brother or sister in Christ. You know, definitely finding somebody that you really trust, that, you know, maybe believes in Jesus as you do, or who is a follower, or who, you know, just a brother and sister in Christ, or a close friend that, you know, I mean, you can have a coffee and lunch with any kind of friend. I'm just saying, like, more specifically with somebody who's more same belief system as you, perhaps, you know, just kind of an opportunity to get connected. You're starting to go to a new church and you meet somebody, start inviting them for coffee, start inviting them for lunch, start inviting them to go walk at the park with you, or, you know, something like that. And that kind of helps to get you into meeting new people, or to, you know, have fellowship, because we do need fellowship. After I left the ICOC, and even when I was in the ICOC, I knew and hung out with people who did believe in Christ, but they weren't going to the ICOC, or, you know, just even from the church that I'm going to now, I met so many people to, you know, go have a little coffee with. You know, use caution for pandemic or COVID regulations, depending on where you live and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, just kind of connecting with a friend. Go out for coffee, go out for lunch or something, or just go out for a walk at the park together. And, you know, that's definitely a way to get connected with somebody. And honestly, like, just, you know, kind of get involved in a way. Number 5 is a non-church tip I have. This is something that I like to do on my own, with or without going to church. It's definitely doing God meditation or Bible meditation or scripture verse meditation. I am a meditation freak. I love to meditate. I love mantra meditation. I love walking meditation. You know, any kind of meditation I can do, and whilst connecting with God, I am all the way here for. This is not, you know, I'm not saying this is how you need to do this. This is how it goes or anything like that. This is just how I meditate and spend my quiet times with God, or, you know, when I meditate with God, this is what I do. I usually just, you know, find a nice quiet place to sit, and I will just kind of quiet my mind, quiet myself, and I will just sit here and be still and just meditate, listening for God, and see what He wants to say to me for that day, or what He wants to tell me, and then just spark a conversation between me and God. Or I will meditate on a verse and with God at the same time. And honestly, that is literally my favorite way to connect with God. I have my most strongest connections and my most, like, intimate private times with God is when I meditate with Him. A beautiful, wonderful thing that I absolutely love to do to help me get connected with God and really just, you know, get close to Him and really just, you know, really get in the spirit with God. And I want to encourage you guys to try it. I mean, it's not for everybody. I understand if you know, everybody has different ways of how they connect with God. I totally understand. But I just want to kind of encourage you guys to try it. If you guys believe in God, or if you're on a walk with God, definitely try to meditate. And then my last and final tip is to definitely have quiet times. I can't stress quiet times enough. That was something I absolutely strongly did while I was in the ICOC. I did quiet times almost every single day. And while people were kind of on my ass about doing quiet times a lot, because of people from the ICOC. That was not good, but you know, I strongly think that quiet times, again, something from the ICOC, and as long as you're doing it that's not against God, it's fine. Like, you know, honestly, quiet times are a great, amazing way to connect with God, because you're taking a chunk of time out of your day and you're just strictly spending time with God, whether it's praying, meditating, reading the Bible, you know, listening to like spiritual Christian music, whatever it is that you do during your quiet times. So having quiet times are definitely a way to help you grow and to really get closer to God. So that's definitely a tip to help you with your walk with God if you're not really looking to go to a church but wanting to worship God at home. I'm all talked out. What do you guys think of my viewpoint of how I miss, not the ICOC, but how I miss connection with others, or how I miss connection with maybe being closer to God? Guys, let me hear your thoughts. What do you guys think about perhaps the aftermath of leaving ICOC? Do you guys have the same feelings I do? Do you really miss like having a good connection with friends, or like Christ-like minded friends from like maybe the ICOC or just a church in general? Or, you know, you've really been struggling with your walk with God and you just don't feel connected with Him. What do you guys think? Definitely leave me a comment down below. Or if you guys feel like sharing your experiences with the ICOC or any of your viewpoints, if you're comfortable with sharing. And thanks for hanging out with me today, guys. I'm so glad I was able to kind of speak about some more ICOC content. I hope you guys like this video. If you guys haven't checked out my ICOC story time, definitely go check that video out. And if you guys like this Soulful Chat, you want to see more of the ICOC Soulful Chats, or just any other kind of spiritual lifestyle topics in general, leave me your suggestions down below. And aside from that, I will see you guys on my next video, on my next blog, or my next vlog post. Bye guys, see you.